today we're going to talk about how to set up a report to be emailed based on a schedule. So let's hop over to the Report Center real quick and go over a few things regarding scheduled reports. So when you're in the Report Center, you'll notice there is a tab for scheduled reports that you can look to see what reports you have scheduled. So I have a handful here that have been scheduled, and you can also tell that it has this little calendar icon, which indicates that it's a scheduled report. So when you go back over to all reports, you'll be able to see that calendar icon on any of the reports that are scheduled. So those obviously indicate that they are scheduled reports. Now, the two different kinds of reports that you are able to schedule are financial reports and memorized reports. And we're going to talk about financial reports first. So there's nothing special that you really have to do for financial reports besides setting up the schedule. So let's say that you want to send this cash balance weekly report to one of your coworkers every week. We're going to go over to the More Actions link, and we're going to edit our schedule. So for financial reports, you are able to use the filtering function here. You can choose a department group, location group, project group, and you can choose an as of date. For me, I want this to run every week, and I want it to run as of the day that it's running. And so I don't want to put a date in here. But if you're running something maybe with an as of date of the end of the year, maybe you want to put an as of date here. But for this demonstration, we're not going to put anything in there. You do have the option to run individual reports. So let's say I want to run for all of my US locations. So I know that I have 5 different locations in this group, this location group, and I want to individually run those reports. So it's going to run 5 different reports for each location. It's going to send me one PDF and an email, but I'm going to have 5 different pages of this report based on those different locations. So that's a nice feature to have there too. So those are your filtering, and then we're going to come down to the scheduling options here. So obviously you need to tell it when you want it to start. So we can just say 7/1/2026, which 7/1 is a Wednesday. So I want this to run every Wednesday. When do I want it to end? I either never want it to end after a number of occurrences. So maybe I only want it to run 15 times. Or I can put an end date. So run weekly. We're going to tell it weekly here in a minute, until 12/31. And then when do I want it to recur? Well, for this purpose, I want to do weekly, and I'm going to do every week. Now, because I said 7/1 is on a Wednesday, this is going to run every Wednesday. And for your information, the reports run a little bit after midnight when they're scheduled. So when my employee gets in on Wednesday morning, she should have this report. And then what are my delivery options? I can either email this report, store it in Intacct, or store it in Cloud. So this video is to talk about emailing reports. So we are going to email this report, and I'm just going to say that it's going to me. Whatever your subject is. What was this? Cash, I can't remember. Cash balance weekly. And then you're going to want to tell it what type of report you want. Do you want an Excel, HTML, printable, which is PDF, and then any message that you might want to have in the body of the email. Now, I will say one good thing, sometimes I like to test the report to see what it's going to look like before I set it up to maybe be scheduled to email to 15 different people. So if you want to do that, you can backdate this to, let's say, 5/1. So this is, almost 2 months ago. And instead of doing weeks, I'm just going to do months, once a month. Once I hit save, this is going to run on, basically it's going to know that it needed to run on 5/1 and 6/1. And so I'm going to get 2 separate emails. They're going to be the exact same report because that as of date is going to be today. But it's going to allow me to see, what is this report going to look like? What's the email going to look like? It's a good way to test your report. And another thing I want to point out is if you're editing a schedule and you're coming in here and let's say you have a group of people in here, if we had 10 people listed in the two, would you just either use a comma or a semicolon to separate? And maybe I was going to send this to Lisa. You're adding more people, whatever, you're taking somebody off because they're no longer with the company, whatever it is. If you come in here and you edit this schedule, and let's say it's a weekly scheduled report and you set it up at the beginning of the year. So it's gone like, I don't know, 30 times or something already this year. And you hit save, it is going to go back to whatever date you're starting and it's going to send that many reports to all of those people again. So be very careful when you come in and edit a scheduled report. If it's something that's run a bunch and you don't want it to basically go back and rerun, because I'm not really too sure why you'd want to do that, just update the start date, make it more current. So, make it 7/1 or whatever the Wednesday date is that you want it to run. So that's just something to keep in mind too. So basically, let's see here, we're going to change this back. So you can choose end of month. So that's one good thing. If it's something that you're wanting to run as of an end of month date, you can click that. And that should be it. So we're going to save that. Okay, so now I see this cash balance weekly now has a calendar on it. And if I go over to, not memorized, if I go over to my scheduled reports, here's that cash balance weekly and it has the calendar by it. Again, if you need to edit that schedule, you just go in and edit it. It remembered everything we were doing. So you would just change it in here and save it. So basically, if it has a more actions link over here, the report does, and it has edit schedule, then that can be scheduled. That report can be scheduled. You cannot schedule graphs. So these are all graphs and they are not allowed to be scheduled for whatever reason. So then you come down here and we start getting into our custom reports or our Sage out of the box reports. And you can notice that there's not a lot of reports that have that more actions link to be able to edit the schedule. Well, that's because we need to first memorize the report before we can schedule it. So I'm going to, let's look for our customer aging report because that's a pretty common one that we like to email out. So basically there's no more action over here. We're going to click on the report to pretend like we're running it, and we are going to basically fill out any of our filters that we want this report to run for. So whatever your aging period is, date to use. I'm going to not use today's date because again, this is going to use, if you leave this blank, it will use the date that the report is run. So we don't want to put a date in there. Basically this is just a common report. So you are probably aware of this report and all the filters that are allowed. So we just want to run it wide open basically. And we are going to memorize this report. We are going to call it customer aging for AR clerk. And I'm going to make it public just so other people can see this memorized report if they want. I hit OK. And now it just popped us into this memorized report screen. I don't need to do anything with this screen. So we're going to go back here. And then if we go under memorize, so now this report is going to be well, maybe we need to refresh it. So now we should be able to go into our Memorize tab and search for customer aging. And so here is our Memorize report, customer aging for AR clerk. We can also find it over here under all reports. I'm just going to do a quick control F for customer. I thought it'd be a little easier to find. There we go, customer aging for AR clerk. And you can see it added that more actions link for us to be able to go and schedule. So again, you'll be able to do the same types of things that we did with that financial report. So that's basically how you set up a scheduled report and how you edit it. Thank you for watching.